Hey, welcome to Devotions with Dallas. And today's scripture comes from Isaiah chapter 26, starting at verse 3. And I am reading from the Amplified Bible. And it says, "You will keep him in perfect and constant peace, the one whose mind is steadfast, that is, committed and focused on you in both inclination and character, because he trusts and takes refuge in you with hope and confident expectation." Now, you all know I love words. So the word that stuck out to me was inclination. And that word means a person's natural tendency or urge to act or feel in a particular way. As I was going about my week, I encountered a person who was really, really negative. And I was sharing with them, what God is, saying to me and just sharing what God was doing. And this person tried to belittle what God had told me, belittle what God had told me to do. And when I left that conversation, I started feeling some kind of way. I started feeling bad, like, oh my goodness, Jesus, did I miss you? What is really going on here? And then I had to shake myself. And I had to remember that when God gives you to do something, not everybody will see the relevance. Not everybody will see, how important it is. Not everybody will see, that this is actually God. But here's the thing. The natural mind cannot comprehend the things of the Spirit. You see, you cannot look for people to agree with you. You cannot look for people to clap for you. You cannot look for people to always understand you. This is why the Bible tells us that we will walk in constant peace if we keep our minds stayed on Him. Because God knows that, when trials come, He knows what we are inclined to do. He knows what we are, how we're inclined to act. When I think about the word inclination, I think about, leaning in a certain direction. And He knows that if somebody says the wrong thing, sometimes you're going to lean in the wrong direction. You're going to lean out of faith. You're going to lean, to your own understanding. And so this is why if we want constant peace, a peace that passes all understanding, we have to keep our mind on Him. You see, when we keep our mind on Him, He will refer us back to our piece of paper. I always talk about how you are to keep your eyes on your own paper. See, this is my paper right here. On my paper is, my scripture for today. Written in the Amplified version. This is what is on my paper. And so God is saying the things that He has called you to do, the things that you have written down, the things that He has talked about, to you, that is what you're to keep your attention focused on. You see, you can't be bothered with negative Nancy and negative Fred, but you have to put your eyes on your own paper. This paper says LaShawn Dallas, and this is what you're to focus on. This is what you're to do. This is what you're to give your attention to, not to what anybody else said. You know what I'm saying? Because how many of you know that people are not on the sidelines clapping for you? They are not on the sidelines believing in you. Now, not everybody is like that, but I'm just saying you have some really, really negative people out there that will try to deter you from what God has called you to do. But how many of you know that God didn't just call you and tell you to do what you're doing for naught? He didn't just call you because He ain't had nothing to do. There is somebody's life that you're touching through what you are doing. But if you listen to negative Nancy, you will not touch that person's life. And you got to keep going no matter what. You see, there are experiences that we have had in times past. And so God knows that, and, we've had so many negative experiences that anything that resembles what we have been through, y'all, sometimes we will reach back, and gather that and get that memory, or reach back and get that feeling. And we'll start acting that thing out in this current moment because it resembles, what we're going through now. But God is saying, no, keep your mind stayed on me. I don't want you to be moved by what somebody says. I want you to stay in faith. I don't want you to be moved by what somebody says. I want you to be confident. I don't want you to be bothered with what somebody says. I want you to keep going. See, the enemy wants you to stop. Any way that the enemy can get you to stop, that's what he's going to do. And that's who he's going to use, because he uses people. He uses people to spew negativity. He uses people to do abusive things. He uses people. But what he is ultimately trying to do, y'all, is shut us up. If he can get your praise, then he will get your praise. If he can get you to stop worshiping, he is coming for that worship. Now, last week you were standing up in church, lifting your hands, not even so much as in church. You went to the stall. You were standing up at work in the stall, lifting your hands in worship because of what God had done. Now, this week, your spirits is low. He came for your worship. And anytime we give God our attention, and we, focus on the piece of paper that, God is causing us to focus on, the enemy is mad. And he's going to try to come after that thing. And he's going to try to shut your mouth. He's going to try to stop your praise. He's going to try to stop your worship. So I want to encourage you, beloved, keep your mind and your eyes fixed on the Lord. Do not get out of that constant peace that the scripture is talking about. Don't give your ears to negative Nancy and negative Fred, because God didn't give them the assignment. He gave it to you.